What's going on, everybody? Ryan the Mighty Quinn here on the Cornerman_MMA. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Comments below. Let me know what you think. Actually, today's subject, you might have some questions on, some thoughts, some tips. Want to hear all of it, so please send the comments below. Uh, I saw a video recently with Michael Chandler, and he was talking about how carbs are the enemy. And then he brought up something about the food pyramid, which he wasn't really wrong about. Uh, I don't agree that carbs are the enemy. Carbs are probably the reason I made 155. The bet they're made 155 healthy. Actually, carbs are in everything. When people think of carbs, they think of just strict breads. There's carbs in everything, including especially greens. The one thing that carbs are not in is protein. But he did say something interesting that um, I'm with him on. He talked about the food pyramid and how it's a scam. I don't think the food pyramid is truly a scam, but it's not accurate whatsoever. Now, when they made this, he went into more depth than I know to going on depth on. But when they made the food pyramid, it was a very long time ago. They were figuring they were way more advanced when it comes to uh, research on nutrition now. But more or less, the food pyramid is almost upside down. That's the best way to put it. Your fats at the bottom, carbs probably they're probably more towards the top. um, but because if you think about it, like a lot of those start like the sugars and stuff, that's all fats. It turns to fats, the starches and everything. So but you could burn that as you go through the day. Now, um, carbs in training for me, like I said, that's how I made 155 was so important when I really started dieting. I was under the impression that carbs were the enemy, and when I wasn't eating carbs, I would stop eating all carbs. Actually, let's see, what would I do? I would have I'm trying to think of what the one carb was I would have. Like, either way, I would try to avoid it, and it was horrible. I felt like shit when I was dropping weight like crazy, but I felt like shit. Yes, I was still eating my fruits and vegetables, which have carbs in it. People don't realize, but I felt horrible. Now, it's not that you eat carbs; it's when you eat carbs and what kind of carbs. That was the other thing that I had an issue with was I was eating all the wrong carbs at all the wrong time. White bread, full of sugar, stuff like that. Um, once I started working with a nutritionist, Paulina and Dara, Michelle Ingalls with Perfecting Athletes, I made their lives horrible when I was working with them. They were amazing. They educated me on carbs and how much better my training was. And actually, I remember another time when I was starting to get into the carb drive was I was boxing with Aaron Davis and he told me to eat a sweet potato. I was like, I'm not eating carbs, you crazy? And then I had one sweet potato after training, and I felt great. Now, you got to think of it like this. Yes, you're going to add a little bit more calories to your diet, to your daily plan, but you're going to burn so many more because your performance level is going to be way up because you're re-energized, you're regenerated. That's what carbs do. Now, when do you eat carbs? Now, I found that a lot of people they eat carbs. They like to do it before the workout. That's when I like to have my little bit of sugar or protein is before the workout. It's after the workout that's when I have my carbs, my starchy carbs, like a white potato sometimes or a sweet potato, white rice. White rice was really helpful in my diet. But later on in the night, or when I'm trying not to eat a whole lot, because those starchy white carbs are they're the fast digesting stuff. That's when it's going to really get to your muscles and through your body faster. So that's when it's best to have that when you're depleted and you need that to regenerate. That's when it's best to have those carbs. Now, there's other good carbs. Oatmeal. Oatmeal is amazing. I eat oatmeal all the time to this day. That I used oatmeal a lot when I was training, especially if I was getting hungry at night. That was my like snack on the weekends and stuff because it was slow digesting. And not only did it fill me up, it got me through a long pace without a meal. Very important. So don't shy away from carbs. Just really make sure you do your homework on it. Me, I was horrible when I first ate. Like nutrition is 65% of the training, 70% of the training. That's a lot of people don't realize too. I didn't know what I was doing, so I would have I would eat 3 eggs in the morning with some spinach that I burned up to basically nothing. I'd eat more spinach later on in the day with a chicken breast, and I would pick at a piece of fruit and oh, 2 pieces of fruit throughout the day, and like that's all I ate when I was trying to train a full time schedule. Felt like crap. I was sore all the time, not regenerating. Then when you really study up or you work with a nutritionist, you can see how much you eat to actually get through the day. You feel so much better. Your performance and your output is so much better. So I really recommend for fighters, young fighters, to look into that. I understand sometimes it could be expensive, but really you could just Google your own homework or even pay for the consultation fee, and it's definitely worth it. Just how to do it correctly helps so much. Yeah, and I'd have my protein shake too in there. Still love my protein shakes, but yeah, my rule was more or less I would eat 6 times a day when I was really doing it right. Carbs before training, protein before training, carbs after. That was my rule. And hydrate yourself. Please make sure you're hydrated. Outside of training camp, a gallon a day, a gallon and a half. 6 weeks before a fight, 6 to 4 weeks before a fight, six to six to 1 week before a fight. Sorry, 2 gallons a day, and start taking 64 ounces off until weigh-ins. That's something else you can look into. But you got to stay hydrated. Got to get everything flowing through your system. So, and then of course there's what kind of proteins. I would have red meat maybe once a week, twice a week if it's going well. But normally I would just have my chicken breast and eggs. Eggs are the best. Eggs are a superfood too. A lot of good fats in there as well. Um, those are the proteins I stuck with. Fishes, obviously. Fish. I love sushi. Sushi was my cheat meal though because I was an idiot. Always put cream cheese and soy sauce all over it. But get that fish in there. Sushi, hibachi sushi is great. Sashimi. I mean, not hibachi. Sashimi. So that's all the stuff that I did. And any diet that you go through should have unlimited vegetables, unlimited water. I don't care what anyone says, because that vegetables and water, those are like the two things you burn up more than anything. Fruit can come back to haunt you. A lot of people don't realize, especially like bananas, because they're loaded with sugar, turns the fat. You can't burn it off fast enough. So 1, 2 pieces of fruit a day, I found when I was training for a fight, and I would lose. When I was not even trying, when I was just sticking to my diet, and I was like 2, 3 pounds a week, and then I had the energy to cut that weight later on, and yeah, it felt great. And the other thing is that we've been saying diet, and I've been saying diet. I'm going against my own rule. This is something we learned as well that I didn't follow till I was older because I thought I knew everything. I didn't know anything. I was out of shape. Remember, I got the call from the UFC. I was doing all the stuff I thought was right. I was in training, but I wasn't doing stuff outside of the gym right. I wasn't following my diet. Why was I not following my diet? Because it wasn't a camp. You can't have a diet. You got to have a lifestyle change. That's one thing. Don't think of it as a diet. Think of it as a lifestyle change. And it's for the better. Don't get scared by that term. You got to do this to better your output, to better your life, to live longer. Think about it like that. So that, then when you don't have fights coming up, yeah, you relax on the weekend. You have your White Claw, your McDonald's on the weekend. We don't have a fight coming up, whatever. Even if things are going good, you got your fast food, whatever. Obviously, fast food you want to stay away from, but you got to live a little bit, right? So that was my biggest issues. I learned about nutrition and got really educated on it because I did everything wrong at first. I did everything wrong. Then I started looking into all the right stuff to do, how carbs are not the enemy, and everything came into place. Once I really learned how to eat carbs, uh, training was great. I slept better. It's just really do your homework on that before you say carbs are the enemy. That's today's video, guys. Bye.